Okay guys, how to overcome stress in the UAE. On my previous video, I talked about overcoming stress in the UAE. Or I did talk about two areas where you can highly get stressed in the UAE. I talked about your accommodation and I mentioned your job area. Okay, I did talk about, in my last video, I did talk about the stress that you get from your accommodation. So I will leave a link in the description box down below. If you want to know how to overcome stress wherever in your accommodation in Dubai, you can check it out in the link down there. And today now we shall be bringing how you can overcome stress at your job site, because these are the two areas where you get seriously stressed up, guys. Okay, at your job site, you get stressed up also. Okay, so we shall be talking about how you can overcome the stress at your job site. Watch out. Now, another area where you can get stressed up is at your job site. Now, these are one of the area where we encounter most of the stress here in this country. At your job site, the stress comes from different angles. It comes from your supervisor, it comes from your colleagues, it comes from the clients. So there is a lot of stress that comes at your job site. Dubai is, or should I say UAE, is a country full of very dramatic people of different nationalities, having their different way of thinking and behavior and so forth and so on. Now, at your job site, you encounter stress from your colleague, the person you are working with. You are from the same company, but they can set you up. Especially I want you to understand that all what I'm saying right now, I'm talking out of experience. Close to 4 years in the UAE now, it's enough time for me to know how things function here. The Indians, the Pakistanis, the Filipinos, these people, not all of them do, but the bulk of them are so very difficult to deal with. You can be working in a particular location that you have been posted to by your company. You and your colleagues from the same company, they don't care. The Filipino, you are posted on the same area, people have the same job description, but sometimes they always like to set you up. They like to, I don't know what makes them to think like this, but this is just how they function. Most of them, not all of them, though, like I said, most of them. You are posted on the same location. Look, these people can, especially the Indians, an Indian man or an Indian boy or girl can be smiling with you like that, but what he can do to you at the back, you can never believe it. Okay, some location can be very inactive, dormant locations whereby you are posted. For instance, let me use my previous job as a lifeguard as for an example. They post you in some pools that those pools, they don't have one single person that comes there to swim a day. Sometimes for days, 3 days, 4 days, you go to the pool and you're just watching at the water like that. The job is very boring sometimes. Now, at your duty post, being so boring, looking at only water, you are there alone. Sometimes you may want to, step aside to take a break, even before your break time, to rest, maybe to use your mobile, because mobiles are not allowed to use on duty, maybe to chat with 1 or 2 friends. If you have such an act, don't ever confide in any of these guys. Don't tell them that, oh, this is where I used to go for break, or this is where I used to go and rest when the pool, or when my area is very inactive, when there is no one around, I take rest here. He will look at you and you smile with you. It's fine. This friend not busy. If you're not busy, you go, you take rest. Yeah, like that. The moment they know that is where you go and take rest, maybe you go there, you doze for like 30 minutes. What these people can do, they can do terrible things to you. They can come and, even if you are there, you can come from behind and take photos of you and forward to your supervisor or to the building supervisor or any person that will get you into trouble, and you will tell them this is what you do on duty, you don't concentrate on your job and things like that. Those are one of the stress we encounter here. That means you feel like you are insecure. You are with someone who is smiling with you, people are chatting, but at the back he's doing terrible things. I've experienced this. I'm talking out of experience. Not all of them, like I said. I've also experienced some very good ones that they take you like their brother. You feel like you feel like you belong somewhere. I've also experienced that. But those people that are very few, such are very few. Majority of them, they are backstabbers. These are the stress you get. And very soon your company gets to realize that this is what you do on your job site. They start to threaten to give you warning letters. I've encountered these things. I've got warning letters for things like this. Set up. Let me share with you this little experience of mine. One of my location, my present job, I got warning letter because of this. It's a Filipino guy. Now, this guy is the exact of what I just talked about, the exact 100% of a backstabber. In my duty, we have 2 shifts. We have day and night shift, and we are rotating. This week you are on day, the next week you are on night shift. So the night shift is usually very inactive, dormant, especially when it's around 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock at night. You don't find anybody around. And so the night shift is so quiet and boring. You don't find anyone around you. Sometimes you are posted where you're far off from your colleague. You cannot get to meet him except you go to his own area. And if they find you leaving your position to go to another person's position, it's another problem for you. So what happened to me is that usually the place is quiet and dormant at these late hours in the night. So one night, this is not something that I usually do, but I got to realize that when you sit alone, you fall asleep unconsciously without even knowing. And these people, since I know them very well, they can come to your area and they will take photos of you and they will send to supervisor and they will set you up that you were sleeping on duty. So what did I do? I tried to be safe by running around by looking for somewhere safe to, doze for like 30-45 minutes before I come back to duty. But I didn't know that this guy was monitoring my move. That's how they are. They are smiling with you like that, but they are looking for your weak points. They are looking for where they can get you. Okay? He was monitoring my move and I didn't know, I had no idea about it. And when I left my duty post, I went somewhere to rest for a while. So, knowing fully well that these are the kind of people I'm dealing with, I was trying as much as possible to be careful. But you can never be 100% very careful. So where I usually go and take rest, when it's a small boat, who are working in the marina, I usually go. Not usually. I go there that night to take rest because these people have been tracking me. When I sit on a position, you are tempted to sleep on the chair. So I thought if I sleep on the chair, if I fall asleep here unconsciously, I will not know when they are taking photos of me. So I decided to go inside one small boat where I can enter inside. That boat is been parked there. The owner, I don't know if he abandoned it. That boat has been there for approximately 8 months and no one has ever come to it. So it looks like an abandoned boat in that marina. So I decided to move in there and take a rest for like 30 minutes. But this guy has been tracking me without me knowing. It shows that he has even been monitoring me while I was sitting on my seat, waiting for me to fall asleep at that late hour. It was around 2 o'clock at night. Since I was also very careful, being aware of the fact that someone can take photos of me on my chair while I'm sleeping. It's better to run somewhere where you can go inside and you can actually lock yourself up. No one will come in until. That's how I felt that it was safe. So I go there and I entered that small boat. I lock it. I stayed inside for to take a rest. So this guy came. He has been seeing me. I'm sure he came there and there was no way for him to get photos of me because I'm inside and I've locked it up. So he decided to leave and then he called me. Where are you? I came out from where I was sleeping. And I met him. I said, why are you calling me? He said, there is some activity taking place in your area and we cannot find you. There was no activities. There was nothing happening in my area. I asked my colleague, there was nothing. So, since he couldn't get any photos to prove to the supervisor that this is what I did that night, so he went and reported me to the supervisor that I went somewhere this at night and I slept. So the only way they could prove me wrong was to use the CCTV camera. That was the only way, because he didn't have photos of me. So our supervisor came to me, and me, I'm aware of that. Going to that area, there is a camera that is pointing there. In fact, in that our location where we are working, that is like, I don't know how I can put it. Cameras are hanging everywhere. We have more than 200 cameras in that single area. Cameras, there's a camera facing another camera. That means you cannot do anything. We are merely surrounded by eyes looking at us. And I knew it. So this guy went and reported me to the supervisor. The next day they called me in the office for questioning. And when they asked me, where were you last night? My brain quickly select. Knowing fully whether our area is full of cameras, I decided to just tell my supervisor that I went to this boat. I was not feeling too well. I went there and I took rest for some time and came out. So that was how I got warning letter. So what am I saying here? I'm trying to make you understand that in this country we go through a lot. This is emotional stress. You go to job, you have no peace. You come back home, you have no peace. And all the time you are just, your mind, your brain is worked up. You are full with trials, stress here and there. Now, How do you overcome such stress? Is another solution that I'm going to give you from my experience. When you are working in a location, I'm talking from experience here in the UAE, here in Dubai. Being aware of the fact that these are not all of them, like I said, but if you notice that the colleague you are working with in a particular area is that type, how can you overcome this? You have to be as skeptical as possible. That means keep your distance. Okay? Don't let your colleague to know your moves, what you do, how you do, because this is how they come to you. You know, they like to ask you some questions, try to know some things about you, not because they really love the things that you do, but because they want to know how to get you. I usually stay here at this time. I usually come to work sometimes 5 minutes late. He will use that against you. I usually leave sometimes 5 minutes before time. He will use that against you. I usually go here during break time and I rest. I usually come back from break 5 minutes before after my break time. I usually come back. Things like that. They are using it against you. They use it to get you. So what do you do? How do you overcome this stress? You have to be skeptical. You don't give them any information about you. You know, you keep your distance. You limit the way you interact with them. You limit, just focus on your work. That's the way you have to overcome this. Now, the other stress that you can encounter is from the supervisor. Now, that was the stress coming from your colleagues who are working in the same area. Now, the other way you can get stressed, your supervisor in the location where you have been posted. If your supervisor is an Indian, they still that same suit. That is how they are, being a supervisor or a colleague. That's how they are. That's what they will do. They will try to set you up, and that is the way you can do. Be skeptical and stay away from them. Now, but if your supervisor is a local, if your supervisor is an Emirati, these people, they cannot drag with us. This is their country. They have too much money. They are wealthy. They cannot drag with you. They look at you. You are just like, you know, an Emirati man cannot drag with you, especially when he looks at you coming from Africa, or he assesses your country and know that you people are just coming here to struggle to survive in life. So they also can stress you up in your local, in your job site. They can stress you up. They can not by setting you up. An Emirati man can stress you up in different ways. But how do you overcome the stress from these locals, from these Emiratis? These people, they have one weak point. Most of them, they are, you know, the issue with them is that they want. They desire some degree of respect, some degree of, should I call it honor, or should I say worship? That is their weak point. If you have your supervisor as an Emirati, you can do anything to him, but make sure you give him that respect, you honor him. That means he likes it. Yes, sir. Okay, sir. And that is why they love Filipinos in this country. They love them so much because these Filipinos, they are so respectful. They worship these people as if they are God. But you know, we Africans, we don't care whether you are the wealthiest man in the world. We don't care whether you are the, you know, we do things, we follow it, we do things the way they're supposed to be done. We don't say because you are wealthy, because this and that, and no. We Africans, we're not like that. We give you your respect as you merit it. This Emirati, if he is your supervisor in your location, to avoid any sort of stress from this man, just honor him. If he says this, anytime there is any mistake coming from him, from you, tell him, sir, I'm sorry. Just beg him. That's all he needs. Even if he is the cause of what has happened, if an Emirati comes to your area and tells you that take this thing away from here and keep it here, you take it and you keep it where he has asked you to keep it. Then the less a space of 3 minutes, he comes back to you and tell you, why did you keep this thing here? Meanwhile, he's the one who asked you to keep it. Don't say that, sir, but you told me to keep it here. No. Just say, sir, I'm sorry, sir, where should I keep it? That's just all. That's how they are. They don't just want you to drag with them. Look, I've had warning letter on my location, not because I committed the crime, or not because it was my fault. This man was pissed off with me because I challenged him. And I'm that kind of a person that when I see your mistake, I don't let it slip. I just say it to you and I tell you straight to your face. And I tell you that this is what you have done, which is wrong. I don't like go back and begin to grumble and tell people, this man did this to me. No. I don't care who you are, where you're coming from. I just tell you that this is what you did and this is wrong. So this is why I got warning letter. Not because what I did was wrong, but because I was simply going straight to the point and telling this man that this is what you did, which was not right. And he got annoyed with me and meet the HR, since they are all locals, they are all Emiratis. There is no way he will look at his brother and favor you, a foreigner. Okay. Now let me give you a brief of what happened. In my job site, in my location, our job is working in the marina, an environment in the water like this, where boats are parked, things like that. Our job is to come. We clean that area, these things, we clean them, we mop the floor, we do things like that. That's how we work there. Okay. Now, in my area, I have 5 dogs. Dog, not dog that is barking. This is the problem I always have. When I told them I'm a dog attendant, now they feel like I'm training dogs. And no, a dog attendant is someone who attends to boats at the marina. That's dog attendant. So I have 5 dogs, and every morning when we come, we have to do what? We have to wash, clean that environment, clean the gate glass, clean everything there. We are using water, pressure water, because there's a lot of dust. It's like floor. We have to put pressure water and wash it off, and we do that almost every morning. Some days we don't do it because some days we do it today, tomorrow it might not be dirty. After 2 days you can do it. Then, in one of those dogs, there was no source of water. I had 5 dogs assigned to me on that day. I had come early in the morning. I had cleaned 4 of them, and I had planned to clean all the 5. I have cleaned just 4 of them, and the 5th one had no water supply, and there's no way you can, for instance, you cannot give somebody you can tell somebody, go please wash this car, and you don't give the person water. How can you wash a car without water? So this is what happened. So this dog was not clean. This man came and checked my area, because they always come there and check and they supervise and see everything you have done. And so when he find that area was very dirty, he called me and asked me, why did you not clean? I told him, sir, it's because there is no water supply here. He said, no, you have to find water. You have to look for solution. There is no water. You just leave it like that. You have to try and clean this area. So he shouted and he left. Then me, I look at it. There is no way I can clean this place without water. It's not possible. So I didn't clean it that day. The next day again, he came straight to the place and checked. It was not clean. And he called me again. I told him, sir, this is my area. Check this order. I've cleaned these areas. It's not like I don't want to clean this one. There is no water here. How can I clean this area without water? What I need is just for you to provide for me, look for solutions so that I can get water to clean this area. Now, that was, to make the long story short, that was how I got warning letter. You assign me on a duty and you don't give me the tools, the materials to do the job. And then after you came back and you give me warning letter for that. Now I know why this guy gave me the warning letter, not actually because there was no, the warning letter I got not actually because I didn't clean the area. But even though that is what was mentioned on it, your area was found dirty and did this and that, and they give me warning letter for that. That was not the actual reason. The actual reason I know very well was that I didn't I challenged him. I make him to understand that there is no way you can work without the tools. But this is how these Emiratis are. Don't challenge them, even if they are wrong and you are right. Just say yes sir and just try, and especially if you love your job. In the job that you are doing and they are paying you well, just look for solution. That's how you can overcome a stress from your supervisor who is an Emirati, because they will stress you up. You will just, whatever he says, yes sir, yes sir. Okay, guys, those are some of the few things. Those are the few areas in the UAE that we get stressed from. Remember, if you are living in accommodation, you have different nationalities, try as much as possible to tolerate the tolerance.
Hello, man.
Yes, bro.
How are you?
Thank you. I'm good. Secondly, if you get stressed from your work site, try as much as possible to keep your distance with your colleague, especially when he's that kind of a person. Okay. If you encounter an Emirati, give him the respect. Just say yes sir at all time. Why are we here? We are here for the money. This is not our country. Just play along and get the money. Whenever you are tired of their stress and whatsoever, you give them your resignation letter and you move back home where you can get some peace. Thank you guys for listening to me. Thank you for being there till the end of this video. I do appreciate it. Thank you very much. And please don't forget to like this video, share with your friends, your colleagues, wherever you are. Give it a thumbs up. Peace.
First I give you my love, tell me no be so. Now I give you my heart, you break it. Here want me no be so. The way you do me, girl, I cannot lie. True love no the lie.